Hello FlossTube, Susie Reno here, coming at you with video number 2. Today is Friday, March 23rd, 2018, and I am here to talk about my creative endeavors this week. You can see I have my trusty sidekick and director, Train the cat, with me. He is sleeping on the job, which is his usual MO, so he's my stitching buddy. I first want to say before I get started, thank you all so very much for, if you watched my first FlossTube and you gave it a like, if you subscribed to my channel, if you were kind enough to take the time to leave a comment, thank you, thank you, thank you. That just made my day. My reasoning for starting this FlossTube was to kind of stay off of social media and hold myself more accountable for my creative endeavors, if that makes any sense. I know you're probably saying, hello, FlossTube is social media, and it is, but it's the kind of social media that sparks my creativity. The kind of social media I'm trying to avoid is things where they're a big time suck. I find myself sitting down, and if I start looking at Facebook, if I get on Words with Friends or, games where I'm playing with people, it ends up being such a time suck. And before I know it, 45 minutes to an hour has passed and I have nothing to show for it. And it's enjoyable time, like I don't mind spending it, but I just feel like I'm not being productive at all. I don't know. So part of my reason for starting these FlossTube videos was to kind of hold myself accountable, because then it would make me feel like I need to get this done so that I have something to show for it in a couple weeks when I shoot my next FlossTube video. So that was kind of my reasoning in jumping in. So now, that being said, I also find Instagram extremely inspiring as well. If you're not on Instagram, it's super, because you can kind of start following people who are creative like you are. And so I don't follow any of my friends that I follow on Facebook. I follow very few of them on Instagram, because when I get into my Instagram feed, it's all inspiring. All it is when I go up that feed, it's all cross-stitch projects, quilting projects, fabrics, it's patterns, it's things that are very inspiring. You see people working on projects, and in your mind you're like, ooh, I've got that in my stash. It's so inspiring to see someone else stitch it, and then you feel like, I want to go get that done. So for me, Instagram and FlossTube are both very inspiring. So, but they can also be a time suck if you want them to. But at least FlossTube is something that you can watch while you're stitching. So, that being said, I want to give a couple shout outs or thank yous to a couple of FlossTubers that mentioned me in their most recent videos. Donna Ray from Flannel Jammies Farm. Donna Ray, I think you are responsible for my very first charming mention ever as a FlossTuber, so thank you for that. She had very nice words to say about my first FlossTube and was kind enough to mention it on her channel. And then the other one is Jen from Jen's Stitching Niche. In her latest video, she had mentioned me. And speaking of Jen, I'm going to use Jen to segue right into my next feature, because we're here to talk about stitching. I got to see Jen at Nashville Market along with two of her friends, and it was great fun to see Jen. Jen lives in Mississippi. I live in Minnesota, so we very rarely ever get to see one another. Jen is a good friend of Teresa's. When Teresa moved down to Mississippi, she met Jen through her shop. And now most of you probably know who she is, Jen from Jen's Stitching Niche. And Teresa, of course, is Kitten Stitcher. So we are in a sampler exchange right now with, it's the three of us plus our friend Kathy Krause, who lives in Wisconsin, who is a beautiful model stitcher. If you ever need a model stitcher, look me up on Instagram and message me and I will give you her information because she is a beautiful stitcher. So prior to the sampler exchange that the four of us are involved in together, we did a pincushion exchange. So in 2015, the four of us were at Nashville Market together, and we decided that we would do a pincushion exchange. The first one would be due on July 4th. So Jen from Jen's Stitching Niche had my name, and this is what she stitched for me. It is the sweetest little pincushion you ever did see. So first of all, look at the bowl. She wove that bowl with a little template from Clover. Clover Sewing Notions, the Clover company. I forget what they're called. She even sent me another one, which I haven't, I'm sorry Jen, I haven't done anything with it yet. But they send you, it's kind of a cardboard form and it's flat. And then you like move it up and you weave, you fold it up I should say, and then you weave all of these little sections. So she wove this with yarn. Look at how she finished the top. Isn't that neat? I mean, it's just so beautifully done. And then the pattern is a Blackbird Designs pattern. I'm not exactly sure of the leaflet that this came from, but it's so pretty and so summery. It was just a delight to get. So just a fun pincushion. So that was the first one in our exchange. The second one was due on Valentine's Day. And the Valentine's Day one, Kathy had my name. And Kathy stitched this beautiful pincushion. Isn't that pretty? She stitched it, first of all, on 40 count, which is crazy. Look at how tiny those stitches are. I mean, it's so cool. So this was called Beggar's Valentine. You can see it says February right there, Feb 14th. It's Beggar's Valentine by Threadwork Primitives. There she's got the little edges. There's little, it's just beautiful. It's got that cool raven. I love ravens. She finished it so nicely. It's got like some really neat fabric that just goes with the piece so well. She just did a beautiful job finishing it. So that was my pincushion from Kathy that I got on Valentine's Day. And then the next one was due on Halloween. And Teresa had my name for the Halloween one, which by the time the third one rolls around, we all know who is going to have your name. So this is the one that Teresa did, and this is from the Prairie Schooler leaflet called When Witches Go Riding. And you can see she's got a really cool little silver key charm in the middle. Can you see that? I don't know if the light is quite right. And even the back, look at that vintage fabric she finished it with. It's got the black cat on it. It's really cool. And what's interesting about it is I saw the book or the leaflet pattern from Prairie Schooler When Witches Go Riding, and I looked at it for a second and then I was like, oh, that's like there was the little square one looked so familiar to me, and I was like, oh, that's the one that Teresa made me. What I didn't realize is on the leaflet, these are all colored in. And hang on, I'm going to sneeze. Phew, excuse me. She didn't fill them in. She just left them black, monochromatic, and it looks really cool. I almost like it better just black. So she just stitched the black, and it looks awesome. So I really like this one too. But fun. I mean, so those are, so you know, these three we got, these are the ones that I got from my pincushion exchange, which look how fun those are. Aren't they just the greatest? Very fun. So it's fun to do little exchanges like that. maybe Jen and Teresa will show their pin cushions. I made a Frankenstein kind of pin cushion for Teresa. It was sort of a joke that we had, but anyway. But maybe they'll share their pin cushions too that they got. So that would be fun if they showed theirs in their FlossTube videos. And Kathy, you need to make a FlossTube because Kathy's a wonderful stitcher. So she has neat projects that she works on. So Kathy, I am telling you right now, jump on it and make a FlossTube because that would be very fun. Next I'm going to show a couple things that I forgot from Nashville Market. One of them was from Nikki, from Nikki's Creations. She taught a class prior to coming to Nashville. So she's from Italy. Nikki is from Italy. And when she comes to the United States, she stays for quite a long time. I think she stayed for a month this time. So prior to Nashville, she taught a class in Colorado. She has some friends in Colorado. And the class she taught, like I actually considered and even looked into flights, for going to Colorado because I really wanted to take this class. And then I realized, that's so dumb. It would be silly because I was going to Nashville anyway. It just would have been too much travel in too short a time. So she had this class where they made these little bells. They're called pendabules. I had to ask her like 4 times, like say it again, because I just couldn't get it into my little pea brain. But it's called, you can see the word there, pendabule. That's how she says it. She says it. Nikki's so elegant and pretty, and she's so refined. And then I'm, this dorky Minnesotan, and so I'm like, okay, say it again so I can figure it out. I'm too dumb to figure this out. And she'll be like, it's a pendabule. So Nikki's I adore Nikki. Nikki, I'll tell you a story about Nikki and I sometime. We have a very neat connection. So anyway, so this was the class that I wanted to take from Nikki. And when I saw her in Nashville, I was so excited to see her, of course, because like I said, we have a weird connection that I won't explain in this video, but I will someday when I need filler in a video. She had one kit left from her class. She had an extra kit made, and so I asked her if I could buy it from her, and she said yes, of course. So it has all of the thread in there, and look at it's gingham. I didn't realize that the fabric was gingham. Nikki dyes the linen, and so it's the gingham linen, and then you stitch the monochromatic design, and then you finish it like a bell, and I can't wait to do that. So this will be hanging on my Christmas tree this year, so I'm excited about this one. So that was something from Market that I had tucked in a pocket that I forgot to share from last time. And then a couple other things from Nashville. Remember that I had from Beth Twist's booth, Heartstring Samplery. So she ran out of this one at Market and she mailed it to me. So this is the Prairie Life sampler. I know there's a stitch along going on right now. Mama Joan and Kelly from their channel, they have started a stitch along on this, and I wish I could jump in, but I get stressed out if I have too many whips. So I love seeing their progress though, but one day I'm gonna stitch this. It's so cute. It's, Little House on the Prairie. Joan, Kelly, myself, we're all Minnesota girls, so of course we need that. And then this one is the springtime edition of the Festive Little Fobs. Remember, I had picked up the stitching edition and the Valentine edition of the Festive Little Fobs, also by Beth. She has such cute stuff. And my plan with these, among other designs, is, remember I had mentioned my printer's box last time, and I had said that I wanted to fill it with little sampler motifs. There was a woman that I linked, that I mentioned in my first FlossTube, and I believe she's from France, and she is filling up a printer's box with motifs. And so here's my printer's box, and so I want to do the same. I don't know if I'll do all of them. I might leave, some of the bigger ones open for maybe antique sewing notions or buttons, or I don't know. And I might not do it all with one type of fabric. I might get 3 linens that coordinate in color, and then, you know, just to add visual interest, because I think it would be boring if it was all one color. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure, but that's my plan with that, is to start that. I probably won't start it super soon because I want to get some other things done. I'm not one that can have a lot of whips done. Like Jen from Jen's Stitching Niche has a ridiculous amount. I don't know. She counted once and I feel like it was over 100 or something, but I couldn't do that. It would stress me out. So I'm like a 4 or 5 whip gal, and I'm also a quilter. So I probably have about, 3 or 4 quilting projects going at once as well at the same time. So between the 2 hobbies, maybe 10 works in progress. So anyway, but I don't like having a bunch because it just, like I said, stresses me out. So that was, and then the other thing I wanted to show is this stitching bag. Teresa made me a stitching bag. It was really funny. We got there and we had both made each other stitching bags. So the ones that I make have the clear vinyl. They look like Mama Jones kind of. I followed I think it's Dina's tutorial, and but they have the clear vinyl and everything. Now this one is, and look at their little floss bobbins. Isn't that super? Look at that fabric, how cute it is. I love it. So Teresa made me this one, and it's perfect for a Q-snap. And I normally stitch in hand, but there is one project that I have when I do over one fabric. Are you heading out, buddy? When I do over one stitching, I need to use a Q-snap or a hoop of some sort. So the one that I'm working on right now is this one. It is Autumn Arches. I'll give you a close-up here. You can see my little needle minder there. I think the needle minder was from Down Sunshine Lane, but I got it because of Pam from Stitching Between the Lines and McKenna at Stitching in Sequins. They gifted it to me along with a bag. Well, Pam gifted it to McKenna, and McKenna gifted it to me, which was super duper nice. So at the Midwest Cross Stitchers Retreat. So anyway, this is stitched on 26 count mushroom Lugana, and it's over one thread. And on the arches, you can see that the arches I filled in. If you look at the pattern, you can see that on the pattern, the arches are kind of, they're made to look, they're done over 2, so they look, I don't know if you can see it very well or not, but they're not solid. They're kind of wonky and primitive looking, sort of pockmarked, I guess. But that's the autumn one that I'm working on. I have the spring one and the summer one done. So I just have autumn and winter to do yet. So I'll show you my springtime one. This one is actually already framed. So that's over one thread. Isn't that cute? It just looks so, everything looks neater on over one, I think. But, so that's that one, autumn. And then this one, I'll hold it up here. Hopefully you'll be able to see it okay. So this one isn't framed or anything yet, but this is my summer arches. Isn't that cute? And like I said, 26 count Lugana over one thread. It sort of reminds me of the Brenda Gervais, what is it, the Schoolhouse Samplers? Is that what they're called? With the over one Lugana, but I think theirs is 28 count Lugana, so this is close. It's weird that they would have like 2 counts, so 26 and 28 are so close together, but whatever. And then this is the winter one, and that's the other one that I need to get done. So I'm more than halfway finished. One of them is FFO'd. So, but I'm getting there. So those as a goal I would like to finish this year. The next thing I will show you, so I'm also a quilter, and I'm just going to show you a little bit. I know Heidi Cran talks about her paper piecing. She does quilting as well, and this type of quilting is all done by hand, and it's a lot of fun. I think it kind of goes I don't know if it goes hand in hand with cross stitching, but it's fine little work, and it's I don't know, maybe you would like it, maybe you wouldn't. I never know what people like, but I sure enjoy it. So this is it's a form of quilting called English paper piecing. And so what you do is, and I don't know if I should start off showing like the little, I'll just kind of start off showing the little pieces. So you make little stars like this. So you can see that's fabric that is wrapped around a piece of cardstock, and then you sew them together. And then, like, here's some hexagons that go with it, and you wrap those around the paper also. And what you do is how do I best describe it? I'm doing a terrible job of describing it here, I can see that, but you stitch them all together. So you put, like, for example, you put them right sides together, you match up the sides, and then you would stitch along this edge. And then when you open it up, they're joined together right there. So it's a form of quilting that's all done by hand, and it's a lot of fun. It's very addicting. So here's a couple of stars that I have done. This particular pattern, I'll show you what it will look like when it's done, which will not be for a while because it takes some time. This is called, it's by the designer is Tula Pink. She is a wonderful fabric designer. I'll kind of zoom in a little bit there. Let's see if you can see it better. Maybe if I hold it this way. So that is what it will look like when it's all done. And actually, maybe I'll show you this picture because it kind of shows, that's more of a drawing of it, but you can maybe see the pattern a little better. So I have a little bit of this together. So you do it in rows. You put it together in rows. So let me just show you. So here, I'm on row 4 right now. So I am working on row 4. I have rows 1 through 3 done, and I will hold those up so you can see it. Can you see that? And I have this actually folded over, so it's twice as wide as this. So this is what, I don't know if I can get this in here. So you can see how wide it is. It's pretty wide. And the colors are gorgeous together. They're very bright. And I'll flip it around so you can kind of see the back. So now I've taken the paper out of these, out of row 1. And they've kind of started to fray on the edge. So I'm not going to take the papers out until the whole thing is together. But you can see that the papers are all, still right in this, and it's all joined together. So this is how far I am. So I'm working on row 4, and every Friday I do a segment or a section. So I call it Fussy Cut Friday. And technically these aren't fussy cuts. Fussy cuts are when you find a specific motif and you repeat it all around the star. So for example, every one of these would look exactly alike, and they would like meet up. Like, anyway, it's not fussy cutting, but I just call it Fussy Cut Friday because these can be kind of fussy. But so these are the ones that I put together this week. So you can see that this one will go here, and this one will go here, and then I will sew them all together. So these will make one big long row, just like this. So I'm putting these together, and then I will attach it to the first 3 rows. So and it's a lot of fun. And yes, does it take a lot of time? Yes, it does. But I find that if I just set a goal for myself each week, I just kind of lay them out, and I just say, okay, this is how much time I have. I'm going to do this many sections. So that's my English paper piecing quilt. I have one other quilt that I'm working on that I'm not going to share with you this video. It's called the Gypsy Wife quilt, and I'm doing it along with my mom. I'm really fortunate because my mom and I share a lot of similar hobbies, so we both enjoy quilting, and it's fun to be able to go on quilting retreats with your mom and just kind of do some of the same things and share the same interests. So the Gypsy Wife quilt, if you want to look it up, it's by Jen Kingwell, and it's a scrap quilt. Jen Kingwell is from Australia, and she really thinks outside the box when it comes to her patterns. Her patterns are amazing, and they're really, really cool. So that one I'm working on, and sometimes on my Instagram I will post my latest blocks that I have made. It's a block of the month, so it gives you little assignments. It will take me a year to finish that one. So I started last September along with my mom, and I'll try to be better about posting updates on my Instagram for those of you that are interested in my Gypsy Wife quilt. So I had to do 22 different squares, I think, this month for that quilt kit, but it's a lot of fun. So if you enjoy quilting, check that one out. And there's lots of this particular block of the month is through a local quilt shop in our area, but there are many block of the month quilt-alongs online that you can follow. So I'll share that one in a future video, or you can look on my Instagram if you're interested at all. Oh, there was one more thing I forgot to share about haul. When Alan and Linda from Lizzie Kate announced that, or I should say Linda, not Alan and Linda, but Alan is Linda's right-hand man. When they announced that they were going to retire, I jumped on the Lizzie Kate bandwagon, and I forgot to mention that I got these. So this is Tiny Tidings 21, Tiny Tidings 22, Tiny Tidings, I think that's 19, and I got the little embellishment packs to go with them. And then I got these strings, the snowy, let's see, this is Buzzy string, so this is the summer one, and this is the spring string, so the springtime string, which is really cute, and the snowy string. And last one is Thankful String, which is just very fall looking. So I have a plan for these items. And then the other one that I got was this Quicket. I have the Easter one, the Easter Quicket. And this is the Thanksgiving one. So I'll put that in a, I'll do a small with it at some point. But I had to get that stuff before it was all gone. And then I have just one more whip that I want to share. This is I pondered if I should do this or not, because this is it's the sampler that is part of our secret sampler exchange. So at this point, both Kathy and Teresa, you both need to sign off of my video, because this is all I'm going to do is I'm going to show the sampler that I'm working on for my secret sampler sister. So I already stitched one for Jen with Jen Stitch and Knitch. So I am on right now my second one, but neither Kathy nor Teresa knows which one I am stitching it for. So both of you need to sign off at this time. Okay? All right. Are they gone? Okay. So this is the sampler that I have stitched for, well, you can probably see by the initials. I'm not going to say who it's for, but you can probably see. So someone who shares the same middle name as me, because I put our middle names in the same color because we have the same middle name. So if you watch my last video, you know who this is for. But this is, I will share the real, the cover of it. This is from Sheepish Designs, and it is from 1993. And it is called And Virtuer Prize. Now, I'm kind of confused. I'll show you what I mean when I'll show you the... So this is what the sampler looks like, and you can see it says down there, And Virtuer Prize by Sheepish Designs. I don't know what Virtuer stands for. So if anyone out there knows what Virtuer means, I looked it up online, and I couldn't really find anything about the word Virtuer. I wonder if she means virtue, and maybe it's just an old world way of saying virtue that I couldn't find online in my research, but I changed the wording to virtue. And I'll hold it up again so you can see the verbiage. It says, "Be not wise in thine own eyes, be just and wise and virtue prize." And then you can see that I put wrought by, wrought for TRV by SRR 2018. So that is going to be for Teresa. Now, you probably noticed this has a very 1990s colorway. The color of those is very outdated. So I updated the colors to be very, very soft and just a little more muted, real taupey. I'm stitching it on 28 count doubloon linen from Picture This Plus. So, don't you love, just look at those eyelets, aren't they fun? I love it. I think it's so pretty. So all I have left is just the eyelet alphabet. Oh, and actually I have to make one more trip around the border. It requires like a double border. Of course, no one would ever know if I never put it in, but I probably will. So, and the colorway, I kind of, as I said, I'm a quilter. So there's a lady, I think her name is Joanna Figuera, is how you say it. Her company name is Fig Tree Designs, Fig Tree and Company. So these are her colors, and I kind of like stole the colorway. I'll kind of try to flip through. So this is her her colorway. This is kind of the color she's known for. So I'll sort of flip through. You can sort of see, I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but here's sort of a quilt on the back that you can see. But those are her colors. That is a very fig tree looking quilt. And you can see I really love these colors, and so I thought, well, I'm gonna pick colors for this sampler kind of based on that. So that's what I did. So hopefully Teresa likes it. So that's the next in my Sampler Sisters series. So that's about it for my FlossTube this week. I hope to come back in a few more weeks. Hopefully I'll have a lot more done on my Anniversaries of the Heart. That's one that I really want to get done. My goal is to finish that larger block this month. And that one has a lot of over one stitching in it. So I hope I ordered some magnifiers, so I'm hoping that those they should be here tomorrow, I think. So I think that will really help with my over one work. So I hope to have that to show you when I come back next time. So I hope you all have a wonderful week and get stitching. Stay off that social media and get stitching. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.